Hello, scholars, and welcome back to week 5 of CJS485 Research Methods in Criminal Justice. Well, I'm excited that we've already reached week 5. Half of this course is behind us. Much of the foundation has already been built, and I look forward to our next 4 weeks together as we finalize our prospectus and continue to move forward in our concepts of research methods. So here in week 5, if we have an overview of our activities, our reading comes out of chapter 6 and 7 of the Maxfield and Babby text. We have a journal entry assignment today, this week. We have some lecture and materials. We have a discussion board and a quiz. So 3 deliverables this week: journal entry, discussion board, and quiz. If you would like to, you could go through the module level objectives. Remember, module level objectives are the learning objectives that we are shooting for to be proficient at by the end of this week. Again, our reading for the quiz, and the quiz will be based off of Chapter 6, Measuring Crime, and Chapter 7, Experimental and Quasi-Experimental Designs. So for our journal entry this week, I want you to read Putting It All Together on page 61 or 161 through 162 and pages 192 and 193. In your journal, reflect briefly on how the controls implemented by the researcher affects the reliability and validity of the crime speeding that they were trying to measure. Based on the many variables associated with experiments conducted regarding racial profiling on drivers, reflect on the challenges you see in developing research of this nature, and other factors may be at work in these research studies that have not been presented. So like all of these put it all together portions, the last few pages of each one of the chapters, read through those and write your journal entry. Remember, journal entries are as if you were speaking directly to me one-on-one, and so it's an informal conversation, but I expect scholarly work with in-depth analysis. For the lecture materials this week, I've included the chapter 6 and 7 PowerPoints. Like before I've discussed, I always recommend to review the PowerPoints, do the reading, and then review the PowerPoints again. If you see things that are redundant, if you've seen it and read it, those are probably the core principles of this week that you need to absorb. For our discussion board this week, look up the FBI UCR data for the most recent complete year of data, which can be found at the given address. Gather the data for Part 1 crimes in the city and state you live in, as well as the U.S. If you do not live in an incorporated city, use the data from the closest city to your home. If you do not live in the USA, use Riverside, California for your analysis. Complete the chart below indicating actual data for the selected cities. In addition, convert the data to the crime per 100,000 people for your selected city so you compare it to the state and U.S. information. So as you can see, murder and manslaughter, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, larceny and theft, motor vehicle, and arson. Crime in the city per 100,000, crime in the state, crime in the U.S. And we're going to be comparing these various numbers. Step 2, examine the data compiled above and consider it based on the average clearance rates for communities your size. Compare the most recent data from your city with that of the previous years to assess its changes during the time. And answers the questions below using the discussion board prompt, posting the statistics you compared for the chart in step 1. So the discussion board prompt. In the discussion board, use the provided template to compile the state statistics from the most recent year uniform crime report from the community where you live in. And then I want you to answer the following questions. Does the data accurately reflect your perception of the crime in your community? Does the crime rate compare to the state's overall crime? What percentage of the crime listed are cleared by local law enforcement? What does this data mean to you? Provide some insightful reflection on the data and what factors may be driving it up or down compared to previous years. Where we're going with this discussion board is really this first question is that I really want some in-depth responses just to see if your reflection of what your community is. Do you think it's a safe community, a crime-ridden community, How do you compare nationally? How do you compare within our state? Is your perception accurate to what the data suggests? So that's the key purposes of this week. Fill out the chart and then answer the questions. And then finally, we have our quiz number 4, which is going to be based upon the concepts that you read in chapter 6 and 7. You have 2 attempts, and you'll receive this highest score of the 2. So thank you. I'm glad that we have these videos so that you can hopefully get a great understanding of what you have in store for you this week. Like always, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, if you're not asking them of me, I do not know they exist. If I'm not hearing from you, I'm suggesting you're navigating through this course with no issues. If you are having any issues, please reach out. I hope that you all have a blessed week, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Bye for now.